Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're all watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you're all here. Today I've got a really cool knife that I want to bring to you guys and talk about. This Tactile Turn Maverick, the Ember Maverick, that's brought to us thanks to my buddy A to Z EDC on Instagram. Before I jump into it, guys, I want to do a quick shout out. Thank you to all the channel members. Thank you, and thank you to anybody who comes in to check out my knife and EDC content. I appreciate you all. If you're so inclined and you haven't had a chance yet, if you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon, it'll really help me out. If you get a chance and you go to Instagram, if you're on Instagram, follow my buddy A to Z EDC. He makes a lot of these knives that I get to bring to you guys possible because he picked this knife up while he was out of town last week. And I got to go get it out of his mailbox for him. He picked it up from a mutual brother, I think off Knife Sale. He got it off somewhere. But this is the Tactile Turn Maverick. The scales are the Ember pattern, which brings me to the reason he bought this knife. The blade is Magnacut, and the hardness on it is rated at 63. So he evidently has this Ember pen set where he's got the pen with this topo clip on the pen, and when he saw this knife he wanted to get it to match, and he was kind of curious about the Maverick. And I'll be honest with you, when I first experienced it, I think at Blade Show 2022, I was a little bit underwhelmed. I didn't feel like it felt that refined, didn't feel like all that. But this particular specimen, which is coming to me a couple of years later, is perfectly centered, very refined. It has a very ample detent. I wouldn't call it a snappy detent. You can fail it because it's a bar lock, but the thumb studs are positioned to where all you got to do is give it a snap, reverse finger flip, the same thing. It's got a full-size handle, and I would call this a full-size knife. We'll do a couple of size comparisons here in a second. We will do a get some measurements off it and get your weight and things like that. But first, let's do what's important. Let's cut with it. And what I've come to notice is it is a very thin ground, very therapeutic slicer. Just a very nice gentleman's folder, a very keen edge, very nice blade geometry, very pokey tip. I mean, splinter digger tip. Blade stock, super thin. You've got this nice swedge on the top of the blade. And again, it's a full-size knife in length. What it's not is it's not a bulky knife. It's got a clip that goes in and out of the pocket, great. The clip is done very well. The scales are very thin, very narrow. Give you an idea, let me just grab another thin knife from my collection. This is the TRM Atom, and you'll see that the Maverick is every bit as thin as that Atom. Maybe a little bit thinner, but a beautiful, beautiful knife. Nice bar style lock. I've been a big fan in Tactile Knife Co. You'll be able to see that this is a lot larger knife than the Tactile Turn or Tactile Knife Rockwall. Much larger knife, longer knife. But let's do a couple of other size comparisons. And let's look at it next to a full-size knife, like our Satu Dave Cold Steel 4 Max. It's going to be a little smaller than the 4 Max. Our Civivi Baby Banter. It's going to be a good bit bigger than the Baby Banter. So let's take a look at our Benchmade Bug Out. It's going to be, what's that, about 3/4 of an inch longer than the Bug Out. And then we'll get a Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Maybe a 1/2 inch shorter. So it's going to be kind of sized between that Para 2 and that Spyderco, or that Benchmade bug out. So if we take our little titanium tape measure, we will see that we're right about 8 1/4 inches. 3 1/2 inch blade, 4 3/4 inch handle, a little bit more. A grip, I'd call a comfortable 4 1/2 inch grip. You've got a plunge grind that comes down here, a little bit close, but you've still got some nice sharpenings. I'd like to see that plunge grind move back a little bit, but in such a thin grind, I don't think that's going to present any problems. Let's just see how thin this blade stock is. And right back behind the studs, you're at 9 thousandths. What's that? 0.0940. And then behind the edge, which I'm never good at getting that, and this is going to be super tight, 0.0155. So yeah, a super thin package, well under 1/2 inch wide, 4.1. And then again, it's got that ember finish. I joked with A to Z EDC. I thought it might have been a Iron Man type of thing, but it's not. They do a annual pattern. I'm not that familiar with all their patterns because it's just not my jam. But it weighs in 3.75 ounces for a 3 1/2 inch blade in full titanium and Magnacut. That doesn't bother me at all because, like I said, it is very thin. It is very agile. It is a very slicey little knife. It is a compact package, yet it's full size. Its date of birth, 9/22/23. Again, it is Magnacut, 63 HRC, Tactile Knife Company. Super unique pattern. Not my jam, but I don't have the pen to match. And I'm not talking about the knife as much as the color pattern. I think it's pretty. I think it stands out. I think the knife locked up super tight. There's no up and down, no side to side. Snaps right in, snaps right out. And you guys saw how slicey it was. So that is the Tactile Knife Company Maverick with the Ember scales in Magnacut. Brought to us by my buddy A to Z EDC over on Instagram. Please give him a follow if you guys get the chance. And then please, if you also would, look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. And always choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.